Hi, this is Rebecca from RebeccaStretchers.com. Today I will be showing you how to turn your Tapestry Crochet ABC Squares into baby blocks. Although this tutorial is customized for my ABC Squares, you can still use this technique for any crochet squares you have made. The only difference will be the number of stitches crocheted along each edge. For each block, you'll need 6 squares, cotton thread in choice color, a 1.9mm hook or whatever yarn hook combination you use to make your squares, a large handful or more of polyester fiber fill, a tapestry yarn needle, and you may also like to use nylon stockings as an extra insert before stuffing for additional security. This tutorial was made without the stockings, but I will include a note later in this tutorial if you decide you want to use them. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn our pretty little squares into blocks. So what I've created is this really nifty chart here, diagram, to help you decide where you want to position your squares for your block. Now for each block you're going to need 6 squares. You'll see here we got side 1, side 2, side 3, side 4, top and bottom. You can pick whatever you want. You can do it however you like. You can make them all have the same background color, or you could have them all have completely different colors, so you want 6 colors. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to make them with 3 colors, so I've picked the right ones for two. Here's where 2 colors would go, here's where another 2 colors would go, and these are where the other 2 colors would go, and so that will help you in making your square positioned. You'll see here in this corner here, I've listed each of my blocks, so block 1, 2, and which side, the position for each of the numbers and letters. So if you wanted to make them exactly as I made mine, that's how you would do it. But you know what, you can make whatever combination you like. It's totally up to you. What you want to start with is you want to start with the center square here, which is side 1. This is going to be your focal square. This is the square that you want to highlight. In this case, I'm working block 5. So mine is going to be a 2. So I'm going to go ahead and position this 2 onto the block, the chart here. Now, my other 2 is going to go on side 3. But it's going to, which is down here, but it's going to be upside down. You'll see here I've written turn upside down. Now the reason for that is that when you rotate it up, you want to have it up. So in case you're wondering, the side with 2 tails is the top. So we've got it upside down. With my Z, it doesn't really look like it's upside down because the Z looks the same either way. Now what we want to do is we're going to go for our other side squares, and I decided I want 7 to go in my side 2, and that means my M, which is also a green, will go into my side 4. I decided that I wanted X to be my top square, and I wanted O, the letter O, to be my bottom square. So you'll see here I've got them nicely positioned, and this is going to make it so much easier for you once you start to crochet them. Now, because each corner of a square only has 3 sides, there's no way that you could crochet the entire outer border of your cube or your block continuously. But I've created it in such a way that you crochet as many of them as possible continuously. But we're going to start with the sides where you can only do 1 at a time. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to get ready to start crocheting the individual sides. In this case, it's the first one we're going to do is the yellow, which we'll find right here. So basically we're going to be putting this side of the X and we're going to sewing it together with the 7. So I'm going to go ahead and set this down here, and I'm going to grab my focal color for the edging. In this case, I've chosen my focal color to be blue, so I'm going to make a slip knot, and then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick this up. So I'm going to, with these pressed together, you want to press the wrong sides together. And what we're going to do is we're going to start here, insert the hook into the first stitch and into the edge stitch of the side, and we're going to go ahead and single crochet 13, sometimes it might be 14 depending, it's okay, it doesn't really matter, just single crochet together across them. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to single crochet, here's 1 and 2. So for each stitch in each row you want to do a stitch. We got 2. The next one. And remember, you want the right sides to be on the outside and the wrong sides to be on the inside. So we're just going to single crochet across. And you actually notice on these on the chart, I've labeled them as square 1, square 2, because these are the first 2 squares that we pick up. And the next square that you pick up will be the next one that's numbered on the chart, which makes it really easy for you to know if you're picking up the right square or not when you're going to go ahead and crochet. You'll also see that I've got written instructions on crocheting the edging around your block too, so you just use whatever combination helps to make it easy for you. And we're coming up to the very last stitch here. Alright, so we've got the sides together. We're going to chain 1. We're going to grab our scissors and we're going to snip off. Our first side is crochet together. Now, we're going to go ahead, let's place this back here. We're going to place this back here on the position, because now what we're going to do, placed here, is now we're going to crochet the orange line. So that's the bottom of the 7 and the side of the 0. So we're going to just move the O, and we're going to grab it next to here. So we're crocheting the bottom of the 7, got that facing us, to this side of the O. It doesn't matter which way you crochet, just so long as you're crocheting on the wrong side. I mean with the wrong sides pressed together. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make another slip knot. And we're going to go ahead and single crochet 13 or 14, it doesn't really make a difference. Whatever works for the square. And just keep all the tails to the edge. Sometimes the hook may get caught on the carrying yarn, so just kind of go easy and be very distinctive when you go ahead and press it in. So we're crocheting these together. 4. And again, we're just doing the same thing we did for the first side edges. And we're single crocheting across, which is really easy. And the last one here. And we're going to chain 1 and fasten off. And again, you don't need a really long tail, you just, because it's going to be hiding away later. So now we can go ahead, and we're just going to place this here again so you can see in the position. Now what we want to do is we want to crochet along the red lines. So here's the red line. So let's go. That means the bottom of the M with the other side of the O. So we're going to go ahead and make a slip knot again, just like we did for the other sides. And we're going to press them together. And again, we're crocheting the other side of the O with the bottom of the M. So just go into the first stitch here. It doesn't really matter which side, which direction you go, whether you work this way or you work this way. It doesn't make a real big difference for the first 3 sides that you crochet. You can do it whichever way feels more comfortable to you. And again, you're just single crocheting 13, maybe 14. It doesn't really matter, just so long as you crochet across and make sure in any way that it looks pretty. And here's the last one. And again, you want to chain one and then just snip it off, pull all the way through. So here's your first 4 squares are all crocheted together, 3 sides. Okay, so now that we've got the first 3 sides, the yellow, the orange, and the red lines crocheted, we're going to start doing the continuous crochet where we're not going to stop. We're going to crochet one side and then we're going to move on to the next side, and we're just going to work continuously around. And now you'll see on the square the first one works around, the first 4 work completely around the 2. So we're going to start with this pink line, which is number 1, and it's going to attach this M to this 2. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make our slip knot again. And we're going to pick up these sides pressed together. Now this time it does matter which direction you work, because you want to have the 2 facing you, because we're working this edge. So we want the M to be on this side. So we're going to go ahead and go into the first stitches here. And we're going to work a single crochet stitches across the side. Now I find that when the side stitches are worked together, the side edges are worked together, I usually find that there's 14 single crochet stitches instead of 13, but it doesn't really matter. Just crochet however it looks nicer and you'll be good. You don't really have to count them, just crochet away and have fun with it. So we're just crocheting across the side here. Here it's getting caught on the carrying yard on the side there. And we've got one more that we can work here, our final edge. Now this is the time where we're not going to chain one and we're not going to fasten off, but instead what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and work a slip stitch right here into this first stitch from the edge of this line here. So right here, the closest stitch to you in blue. That's where we're going for. So we've got a slip stitch. Now we're going to work line 2, which is the purple line, which is the bottom of the 2 with the top of the O. So go ahead and go into that first stitch again and find the first stitch of the O and go ahead and work your first single crochet stitch there. And then we're just going to crochet across the edge. But before we continue, let's just go ahead and pull on all of these little strings here in the corner just to tighten it up. Now the reason why we're slip stitching in the corner is just to give it a nice point and to make sure all the edging is attached to each other. So we're just going to go ahead and crochet around. And remember, we're crocheting completely around the 2, so just keep going in a continuous fashion, and we'll keep going from there. So again, you'll just single crochet 13 or 14, depending on however many stitches you can squeeze in there. And then we're going to do a slip stitch to join to the edge here. So we're coming to the last two. Looks like I may have done one. Ooh, I missed one here. Go back. So easy to miss some stitches sometimes. But you should have at least 13 single crochet stitches when you go across each side, so make sure there's at least 13 if you want to count. No more than 14 though. And we've got one more for this side. And again, get these tails out of the way, and we're going to slip stitch into the stitch that's closest to us here. Okay, so we've completed the first two continuous lines. So we worked the side of one, the side of the two, and we worked the bottom of the two. Now the third one is going to have us working the other side of the two here with the side of the 7. So go ahead and just pull those tails inward so they're out of the way, and single crochet into the first stitch of both of these here, and work your way up the two. Now it's finally starting to come into a block. So we're getting sides together. I'm pretty sure, I'm going to show you here in just a sec. But let's finish working around this too. So again, we're working the darker blue side 3 of the continuous work around. And we've got one more stitch to work on the edge here. And we've come to another corner where we can work a slip stitch. So go ahead and grab the nearest stitch to you and make a slip stitch. Now we're going to work across the top of the 2, and we're going to fold this over and work on the bottom of the X. So we've got the 2 and the X. So go ahead and work your first single crochet stitch. Oops! Running away from me here. So find the first stitch of each one, like so, and go ahead and work across. But after you do the first couple of stitches, going underneath. There we go, got both of them. Just go to the corner here and pull tight on those tails there, just to kind of make the corner look nicer and to make sure they're tucked in. So we're just going to go ahead and continue single crocheting across this row. And the last one. And again, we're going to slip stitch into the stitch that's in the corner here, right here, like so. And we've just completed all the way around the 2, so the first 4 lines. Okay, now we're going to be working lines 5, which is here, which is the top of side 4, which would be our M, and the side of the top, which is our X. So here I'm going to show you where that is. So we're going to be working across this top of the M and the side of the X, so it'll be this thing we're going to press together here. So go ahead and work your stitches. Go into the first available stitch. Make sure you get all of these tails and keep them underneath, and get into the first stitch here and do your single crochet across. Remember, after you got a couple of them, just make sure you just pull on them just to make sure you've got them in there, and just keep working across. And the last single crochet here. Okay, so we've completed the 5th side. Now this is the first one where we don't have one to slip stitch into yet, because this is the first corner that we've got here. But now what we're going to do is we have to work, I'm going to set this, now it's starting to form a block. We've got the first 5 sides of the block formed. Now we just have the remaining 6th side of the square to add. And so I'm just going to show you here again. We're going to work 6, which is going to be this going down this way and going up this way. So that would be the other side of the M with this side of the Z right here. That's where we're going to work next. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to pick up the C, and we're going to make sure that it is lined up with this M here. So you can just put them side by side. You're going to see that once we get them up, the Z doesn't have to be upside down anymore. You want to make sure that it's in the same direction as the M because it's side. So we're just going to press them together like this. Just get those tails out of the way so they're not in your way. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to go into the first stitch of this M and to the first stitch of the Z, and we're going to go ahead and single crochet. Maybe a little tight there. There we go, we got the first one. So just go ahead and single crochet across your stitches here. Some sides will be, edges will be a lot easier to crochet than others. Sometimes the hook gets caught, as you see. It's happening a lot on this edge for me. So just pull it through in the easiest way that you can. Sometimes you may have to insert the hook again. Go. And we've got one more stitch for the M for this row line 6 that we can do. And again, we've come to this an edging thing, so we're going to work a slip stitch right here. Make sure you keep the tails to the inside of the work. And now we're just going to keep working around the Z. Now the Z is our main focus. We're going to work all the way around the Z, and this is the last block, so we're going to do the 7, which is these two together. So make sure you got the first stitches of both of them lined up here. And take your time, you don't have to be in a rush. Just check to make sure all the tails from this corner are in, nice and tight, before continuing. And this is the last one. So again, here's the edge stitch here, so we're going to go ahead and slip stitch here. And I'm just going to pause for a second. Okay, so picking up where we left off, we just completed the 7th edge of the continuous line. Now we're going to go ahead and work the 8th. So that's going to be these two, the side of the 7 and the side of the Z together. So go ahead and single crochet across this edge and make sure that the tails stay underneath. It looks like it was popping out of here. Let's get it out of the way. There we go. Looks like it got stuck there. Remember, if it gets stuck, just pull the hook out again and try it from the beginning. There we go. And we've got one more here. Alright, we've come to the corner, so go ahead and work that slip stitch into the edge, the closest edge stitch that's available. And we just completed the 8th of the continuous line, and now we've just got one more to go. So go ahead and tuck all these tails inside. What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and work the first stitch of the 9th one, and then we're going to pause so we can stuff it. So we work this one. Let's just pull on these corners. And here we're going to pause for a minute. So let's go ahead and just create the thing. Now what we need is a bunch of polyester fiber stuffing. This beautiful stuff here. I've got a bunch of it because couldn't remember how much I used, but you'll need quite a bit. So go ahead and just start stuffing like this. Just push it in. Like so. Just grab a new bunch. Just bunch it in. Just kind of push it around, move it around. Press it down. Grab another little bunch. Just work it in with your fingers there. Press it down again. Want to make sure you get all the corners and whatnot. And just keep repeating this process until you've got a nice amount in. So we're nearing the end. Okay, so you can see we've got a fair amount of stuffing in here. You want it so it's kind of bulgy a little bit, because after a while all the stuffing is going to condense. Now all we have to do is crochet across this remaining edge. So we're going to go ahead and work our remaining stitches here. We've already worked the first one, so we only have 12 more to go. You just kind of have to press it together and make sure you don't accidentally get the hook onto the polyester fiber. So kind of just press it, push your thumb underneath every time you make a new stitch, just to make sure you don't accidentally grab onto the fibers. So you want them to kind of stay down. Sort of lift it up. It helps to just sort of press them together and lift it up a little bit. The last stitch here. Now what you want to do is you want to just grab one of these stitches in the corner, doesn't matter which. Here we go, and make a final slip stitch. Now go ahead and fasten off, pull it through, and then with a tapestry needle just kind of weave in that remaining, just sort of kind of lock it into place here. I like to just kind of go around the corner a little bit and then let it just come up and out. Just kind of weave it back in. And just kind of push it in, the remaining tail. Or you can just snip it, whatever. Just hide it away. And there you have a beautiful block with several sides to it. If you've enjoyed this pattern, you'll enjoy all my other free patterns, so please check them out at RebeccaStreasures.com. Thanks so much for watching!